I don't know how I'm really supposed to express about you all wanting to get the house.
Uh-huh.
How is that going to help the homeowners and the taxpayers here? We must not ignore that we still have serious lawsuits here. God, I'm coming one of it, and I actually have been trying to the residents to do an out-of-court settlement.
She's actually tied to one of the lawsuits. Yep, one of the people suing the village, and still hasn't seen a single dollar. Now, out of nowhere, she's showing up saying, I don't know if y'all should be buying a house. Some of us still haven't been paid. But hold up. Before we get into all that, go ahead and tap that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, share this video, and drop a comment below because I need to know your thoughts on this one. So, the village of Dolton held a public meeting. The big topic? Buying the childhood home of the newly appointed pope, the first American pope ever. And yes, he's from Dolton. That's their new claim to fame. The meeting? Mostly focused on the vote to buy the property and explain why it matters. All pretty standard, until things took a turn. But before we get to that moment, a reporter laid the foundation. The village is officially stepping in to take ownership of the Pope's old home, after striking a deal with two developers who had already purchased and renovated the property before he was named Pope. On that same day, roofers from Windy City Construction were on site installing a brand new roof for free, completely donated. But here's where it gets tricky. The village board is voting to purchase the home, yet the final sale price is being kept quiet until the deal is finalized next week. What we do know, it's going to cost way more than the original $199,000 those developers wanted before the Pope announcement, but nowhere near the $1 million figure they hope to pull at auction. Also, this home has already been wrapped up in legal drama. The village even threatened to take it using eminent domain, which raised a lot of eyebrows. Like, really? You're going to pull the eminent domain card for this? Couldn't they have just declared it a historic landmark? Isn't that the usual route? Once something's historic, you can't tear it down. Sure, the owner keeps it, but there are limits. So why the big threat? Even if they still had to pay, the move felt shady. And according to the current owners, that threat wasn't even legal. Now, this new deal is supposedly a compromise, avoiding a drawn-out court battle and letting the village buy it at a price both sides can live with. And let's be real, tourists and Catholic pilgrims are already stopping by. People were pulling up during the meeting. The Pope lived there with his family in the 60s and 70s, and now there are plans to turn the entire block into a historic district. Then came the moment that had everybody talking. A woman steps up to the mic, and she's not with the program. She's clearly uneasy, stumbling through a long-winded intro about stories, local connections, random banks, defaults, even wondering if the house will make any money. Then she shifts. How does this help the average taxpayer? And then, boom, she drops the real reason she's there. She's one of the plaintiffs in the lawsuit against the village, and she still hasn't been paid. Suddenly, it clicks. That's what this is really about. It's giving serious conflict of interest energy. Like, imagine someone owes you money, and instead of paying you back, you catch them buying their kids some Jordans. You're like, maybe skip the sneakers and give me my $20? That's exactly what's going on here. She says it's not personal, but let's be honest, it's personal. She's acting like she's worried about village finances, but really, she's heated that her check is still missing. And it showed. Her voice? Shaky. Her delivery? Off. She even fumbled her intro, saying, "Hi, I'm coming one of them." What she meant to say was, "I'm one of the people suing," but it just came out all wrong. That's what happens when you're trying to call out a situation, knowing deep down you're part of the drama. At the end of the day, you can't stand up there preaching about financial responsibility when your real motive is just wanting your own payout. That's not for the people. That's not for the community. That's for you. Let's be real. If the area gets cleaned up, if they build it out, add some shops, maybe even a boutique hotel, suddenly you've got a full-blown attraction. Tourists pull up, money flows, local businesses thrive. That's the goal. That's the vision. They've already bought another property on the same block just to restore it. This isn't about one house anymore. It's about creating something bigger. It's about image, experience, and economic draw. That alone should tell you the village might actually be onto something real. But nope, some of y'all don't want that. You'd rather everything stay run down and embarrassing so people like Cassie can keep driving through making TikToks about boarded-up windows. That's the energy. Keep the mess messy. So nothing ever has to get fixed. No changes. No growth. Then here comes this woman, talking about her little lawsuit. She takes the mic and says she tried to settle because her case is about to hit that 33 mark. Says it took a lot for her to come. Oh, really? It took a lot? Or did you just want to make sure nothing moves forward until you get your $40? Because that's the vibe. She doesn't want progress until she gets paid. It's not about building up the town. It's about her check. And that's wild. If you seriously think blocking something that could benefit an entire community is noble just because you haven't been paid yet, that says a lot about your mindset. She starts throwing out lines like real lives matter and we're all human. And I'm just sitting there like, huh? Who said anything about race? Is this because the Pope is white? Where did that even come from? Sis should have come prepared. This was her chance. And instead, it just spiraled. She's talking about non-due diligence, saying police are procedurious, and even claims ghosts are out here cashing paychecks. Ghosts? I wish I was joking. She said that with a straight face. I'm thinking, ma'am, this could have all been in an email. You can hear her nerves. You can tell she knows deep down she's not representing the people. She's representing herself. Everyone else is focused on the future, and she wants the whole town to hit pause until she gets her envelope. And let's not forget, the village already admitted the lawsuits are being processed. The real problem? Tiffany. She had the book so twisted. Nobody knew who was owed what. She was making promises, putting names on lists nobody signed up for. Now that she's out, they're trying to clean up the mess. So for this woman to come in and try to block everything over her own issue, that's selfish. That's why she kept stumbling. Her conscience was glitching. Her brain was like, abort mission. Then she actually says, I'm coming for my receipts. Ma'am, you're not supposed to come for receipts. You're supposed to bring them. At this point, she's just throwing words around like darts. Starts rambling about legislative roles. Then suddenly pivots to the sewers. Yes, the sewers. She says she talked to someone, and now a sewer has moved. Moved? Where exactly? Is it a mobile sewer? Is it on tour? Is it haunting people too? If she had just stepped up and said, hey, I've got a case pending. I saw money moving. Can I get my share? We could have respected the honesty. Instead, we got a chaotic speech about plumbing, ghosts, and how no one should move forward until she gets her piece. People were laughing, not because it was funny, but because it was just that tragic. This is what happens when ego grabs Mike suddenly. We're debating disappearing sewers and invisible pee. Paychecks while the rest of the town is trying to build something better. And she wasn't done. She brought up the street sweeper, said we need money for flyers, but if folks would just move their cars, the sweeper could do its job. Then she wants fans for the fire department. Then leash laws. Then she says she doesn't want to tell people she wants to kick their dogs. I'm serious. That's a real quote. And then she drops a mic with, come on now. That's how she wrapped it all up. After a whole tornado of sewer talk, ghost payments, street sweeping drama, dog threats, and legislative confusion, she ends with a flat, come on now. That was her grand finale. 12 full minutes of pure chaos. Thankfully, the trustees didn't fall for it. They saw right through it. She walked in with serious, if I can't have it, nobody else should energy. That crab in a barrel mentality. And that mindset right there, that's exactly why some places never thrive. But the board wasn't having it. The vote passed. Right after, Mayor Jason House made it official. He said the board did the right thing for taxpayers, for the archdiocese, and for the whole village. And he's right. It's a gem. Best part? The village didn't even shell out a lump sum. They partnered with Wintrust Bank to finance the house, just like a mortgage. The bank fronts the cost. The village pays it off over time. Smart. They're also buying another rundown house at the end of the block, aiming to turn the entire area into a historic district. They believe correctly That people from all over the world will come to see this house. Reporting live from Dolton, that was Dane Placco. So yes, they made the move, and thank God they did. Because if you let a blessing this obvious pass you by, maybe you really do belong down in that disappearing sewer she mentioned. But me? I'm not doing sewer duty. I'm not crawling into no ghost drain. Go ahead, though. I believe in y'all. Mama believes in y'all. And Mama loves you. Peace.